Wait, you know what you were talking about, and this goes along the lines of how kids nowadays suck. How they don't drink.
Kids don't drink.
Okay, well, so like the club scene is like really dying, you know? Like,
let's say hi first.
Okay.
Okay, 1, 2, 3.
Hi. What's up, guys? Welcome to another episode of
Be Uplifted.
Oh.
Pew, pew, pew.
I couldn't go after him. That was really good.
After the Chewbacca?
Yeah.
Let's be like,
All right, so we were casually talking right now
Moist.
about...
I'm sorry.
Lonnie's like,
Chewbacca.
fuck.
Chewbacca and Moist kind of go together.
Moist. How? How? We were kind of talking about how like different kids nowadays to like our time, and one of the reasons why that came up was I was watching this documentary about like businesses and stuff yesterday, and I don't know if it was a documentary or whatever the fuck it was on TV, and there was this business owner that was launching a non-alcoholic beverage brand, and she was talking about the numbers in alcohol sales and stuff in the society as a whole, and it's actually been proven that Gen Zers are drinking significantly less than all the generations before them, which is why these mocktail or like fake booze companies are really thriving, and it's not being driven by people our age, but it's being driven by Gen Zers.
well, I'll be honest with you. I hot take. I think that pina coladas are great. But I also don't like alcohol. So I'll get a virgin pina colada. And I'll enjoy that. I'll drink a lot of those.
What do you think the change of that is, though? Why is it our time? Is it because they're stuck in their phones? Because we talk about that too, right? Like, you guys are DJs. Like, there's a difference in the way that people party now and the way that people party then.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Well, people that party now, they don't actually party. They just show that they party.
They take a clip showing
Yeah.
that they're partying, but they're not partying.
Yeah.
The night.
Like they'll take maybe 5 minutes worth of clips, right? And then spend the next half hour cutting those into 15-second shorts,
Yeah.
or 1 minute reels, and not enjoy the party. Like, I've seen so many people at the club where they're editing a video and they don't realize that their bottle came out, and it's like, well, you just missed more content. Sucks to be you.
Dang. That just makes me think about when the last time we went out a long time ago, and we're like, what the fuck? Like, we saw people getting bottle service, and we were just sitting there like, why do we look like we're having
More
way
fun.
much
Yeah.
more fun than all these other kids around us? That's insane.
They were literally, so the night that Lonnie was talking about, it was a known club, you know, and there was really good music playing. We know because the people that were DJing were some of our friends. And we thought that like we might be the lame ones because we were like the older ones with kids, but we were actually getting down more than the younger kids because they were in their booths, literally on their phone, looking at their phone, on their phone the whole time. Maybe would get up for a couple of songs, like what he said, just to, like, get a clip, and they would be back down on their thing. And the whole night we were dancing. And the only reason why we even got footage of us was because someone else was
Yeah.
recording us.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, it seems like a lot of kids nowadays, they do it for the sake of the post, not for the sake of doing it.
not for the sake of the experience.
Yeah, because there's some dope stuff that or at least things that I consider dope that I've done that nobody knows about because I don't post it.
Same.
But I
100%.
enjoy it a lot more than the likes that I would get if I did post it.
What do you guys think that shift came from? Like, obviously the likes, right? But what about them is not like being driven to party or experience life anymore?
Well, the club culture has changed. That bottle service culture is different than regular club. I mean, you know, I think that, I don't know. The whole club. I mean, sorry, the bottle service culture. It seems more. It was always more plastic, but then most of the clubs reverted to or switched to the bottle service like theme. So everybody kind of looks the same. You have your own little table and you're kind of like relegated to that. It used to be we all kind of just end up on the dance floor or at the bar, but there's no room at the bar, so you end up kind of filtering to the dance floor and you kind of dance. Now it's like more like, I'm gonna get this table, I'm gonna get the biggest bottle so that people can see that I'm getting a bottle. I'm getting the whole marquee thing, and it's pretty much it. You're not really going out to enjoy the music.
Yeah.
Similar to how at one point nobody knew who the DJ was,
Yeah.
but now the DJ's like right up front,
Yeah.
way more in front than anybody could. Like what's that spot? The one that has a Tipsy Crow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
DJ used to be in the back,
Yeah.
and they moved the DJ to the front. Now it's a different vibe.
Right.
You know, it's just that it's a different type of culture.
And I mean, maybe I could be wrong. This is my personal opinion, but like the music is just different now, though too. Like
No,
yes,
it's the same, but it's worse.
right. But I'm saying like
No, it's
It is the same.
They're just remakes of older music, but then I'd rather listen to the original.
Original.
but that also takes the effect of like how TikTok only snippets a certain amount of fucking seconds, and they only know that TikTok dance and that's it.
Yeah.
Versus us, when we would go out, we just fucking just do our thing, shake our ass, whatever, and like have fun with our friends instead of worrying about that 15-second portion that we know.
Yeah.
Back then, I was cool with doing one move. I would just grind on a girl
Yeah.
the whole time.
Yeah.
7 songs would pass, and I'm just
Now you got to do all kinds of.
If you're listening to this, make sure you guys watch the YouTube video.
Wow,
yeah.
You used to, oh my God, you do that to me all the time.
he does that all the time. He's
No,
DJing.
I know, but remember when we're, whatever, okay,
Wait,
anyways.
what?
When we're streaming here, and then you guys finally are like, come on, Lonnie, go ahead, DJ. I DJ for like a little bit. But I couldn't do it seriously because Vince was like dancing right next to me.
Is that when he went across naked?
No, that was
No.
another
That
time.
was a different
Yeah,
time.
that was a
Okay.
private show.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
okay. I also think that part of what contributed to was COVID. Honestly,
yeah.
like because okay, this is obviously like a little bit of a different example, but my kids, you see a wild difference in my kids that like my son was like his probably like really like important years were during COVID, my youngest, whereas like all my other kids were not in the COVID stage. And those kids love to play outside, right? They love to go out, they love to play outside, they love to do shit, they love to go on adventures. Whereas my youngest son, he is very much like no, mommy, I like to stay inside, and he plays with his Legos inside, you know, and he draws pictures, and he's not even on a screen, but he's just like inside enjoying his time by himself, doing his thing. He doesn't give a fuck, you know? And then when we are out, he's like, can we go home now? You know, and I'm like, fool, we're at Disneyland, like, but I'm tired, you know, like things like that. He's like, I mean, that's a little bit extreme. He enjoyed Disneyland too, but like that makes him sound like a spoiled brat. But no, he enjoyed Disneyland too. But there's a difference, right? Because like I feel like those kids when they were turning 21, 22, they were stuck in the house, so now they're out partying and they don't know how to fucking party. They're so used to being on their phone and shit, you know.
But I agree that COVID did have a big impact on it. But with the exception of the loved ones that we lost, have we lost anything else from COVID? Because everything is back to normal for the most part. We still get traffic. There's a lot of people that are out. You know,
I meant so more like the mentality, you know, like
no, but I mean that's the whole thing is that like, yeah, COVID did happen and it sucked that it did.
right.
But like that doesn't affect us anymore. So why do these kids still suck?
It's almost like they weren't properly trained on how to socialize is what I'm saying, you know, like, so even though COVID's over, they're still like,
So like their cell phones and electronics.
yeah,
type of
it's
thing.
still what they socialize with, you know?
Yeah.
Does that make sense? Like, I don't know.
Well, I think technology's definitely changed it. I mean, you watch any footage of a concert, and I'm looking at it like the most epic collaboration ever, and I'm trying to pay attention to the performance, and all I see is
Phones,
thousands of
yeah.
people with their phones up, like
Listen.
listen, this group hasn't been together in like 7 years,
Yeah.
and they just did a surprise like appearance together,
Yeah.
and everybody has their phones out.
And they're constricted to this small screen, and it's like, oh, did you see when this person came out? I was like, oh, let me see. Nope, I didn't get it. And it's like, yeah, because you weren't paying attention to it. You were paying attention to your phone.
You know what I think is like crazy is I feel like there should be a balance, right? Like you can capture those moments as we did with our Polaroid cameras or whatever. But the problem now is I feel like people nowadays, they need that instant gratification, right? Like I have a lot of clips of really cool shit that I do. I haven't probably posted on my social media in like 2 years, you know, like actually posted. Does that mean that I wasn't filming? No. Does that mean that I wasn't capturing those moments? No. I captured it, I put my phone away, and then I experienced it, you know? And I think that's part of the problem. Me personally, you guys can tell me your take on it, but I think the problem is like these younger people, even actually some people my age, don't get me wrong, because they are striving for those likes, right? They want people to see it right away. You know, like, oh, I need to post this right now because it's happening right now. I want them to see me at the concert right now.
I want to go viral.
Yeah, I want to go right now. And I'm like, I'll go to a concert and post it 2 days later sometimes, you know? Like, that's, to me, that's part of the problem is this, like, instant, like, I want to be cool right now. I want people to know that I'm there right now. And it's like, are you there for the right now likes or are you there for the memory?
Well, the whole instant gratification, that should only be for an instance.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, I get that instant gratification. That's cool. Move along and do like the activity that you actually went there for.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, should you really be wondering, or should you really be holding yourself back from having that great experience just because your hair was out of place or you're not ready or you're not in the good lighting? No, just have the fun. If you capture it, you capture it. If not, at least have fun and memorize or have that memory. You know.
But from the studies from the show or the article that you saw or read, whatever, well, did it specifically say why this generation?
No, they didn't. That's why I wanted to talk about it amongst us, because there was no I guess it wasn't really an article about Gen Zers not drinking. It was talking about how the sales and these non-alcoholic beverages are like skyrocketing now, and that their demographic surprisingly is not older people. It really is, because they thought it would be for like old people that are tired of drinking, right? Because the lady that started the company, she's actually pretty old. You know, not old, but like older, probably like. I don't know. She was older, but she was just like, yeah, I was actually surprised to start this company thinking that the demographic would be people more that look like me, you know? And she's like, because, you know, sometimes you get old, you can't party like you used to, you can't recover, but you still want to have like,
or you have a career now.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And she's like, but surprisingly enough, my biggest demographic is Gen Zers. And we're learning that Gen Zers do not drink like the way that we used to drink.
You know, that's actually weird, because one of the statistics that I heard a long time ago, and I don't even know if it's accurate, but they were saying the two industries that will always thrive is alcohol and porn. No matter what. And like, even if there's a lockdown and stuff like that, there's still going to be people that are alcoholics or that like to drink alcohol, and there are still people that are going to indulge in porn. And I think the third one was like gambling. Like, those are the three or the top ones that you don't have to worry about going away.
I mean, okay, maybe I'm like thinking too deep into this too, but I'm just thinking because like my algorithm or like the things that pop up is like the it girl. So the it girl thing that they do now is like go to these restaurants or like experiencing other things and just going to the club.
Right.
So,
okay, that just reminded me of what she also said. She said that it wasn't just that the Gen Zers are drinking less. She said that Gen Zers are not only drinking less, but they're choosing to stay in more. She's like, you know, you find that these Gen Zers would rather stay home and do art and activity with their friends, like, you know, paint night, you know, and or like they'd rather stay in with their friends and whatever, XYZ, you know, game night or whatever. But no one's really going out and drinking anymore and getting drunk and getting faded like they used to be back in the day.
Yeah.
Which is also interesting to me, because it's like even my daughters, right? And my oldest daughter, she's like, I'd rather knit than go and hang out with my friends, you know, like things like that. And then a lot of her friends are like that too. They're like, asking like, how do you crochet? And I'm like, that's interesting. Like, I love that for you, because I don't want an alcoholic daughter, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But like, it's just interesting to hear that instead of looking forward to partying like us, we're like, I can't wait till we turn 21 to go to the club. They're like, I can't wait to have paint night with my friends, you know?
I don't know. Maybe I'm thinking also too deep into this, but maybe they just saw like their family or their parents or whoever like getting into that state, and they're just like, fuck, I don't want to deal with that. Like, maybe that traumatized them. I don't know.
That might be part of it.
That could be it. There's also the whole thing where they do things big, just not as often. You know, like I didn't go to raves a lot.
I've never been to a rave.
Never either.
Like, not even close to as many raves and concerts as my daughter has been to. But I do go to the club a lot more than her. Now, granted, I get paid, but
yeah.
But even when I was in my party era, we were hitting nightclubs
Yeah.
all the time, 2 nights a week, whatever, right? But then I've only been to my first concert recently, and I've only been to a couple of raves where I wasn't working, just a handful of times. But she's gone to more raves in a span of a year than I've been to through my whole lifetime.
I mean, are they drinking at the raves? I'm pretty sure they are. But then also, like, alcohol has that stigma, right? It's still, people are kind of realizing how bad it really is. But I want to know if there's numbers that correlate to whether or not there's a higher usage of weed and other drugs as opposed to alcohol.
Yeah, that's true too.
That's
Because
true,
back then that was so taboo.
Yeah.
That's true. That's a good question.
I definitely know more potheads than I know drinkers, like friends wise.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like family that don't count because they're like in our generation.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that's also like they may be partying just as hard that we don't see, but something else is taking place.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
I mean, but also they're like,
I think there's like more pill poppers nowadays and things like that. Yeah.
I mean, it's like as far as like teens are. I mean, are there the same number of little like clubs or bars that was around like it was, let's say, 15 years ago? Like, is there a landlord gyms here around the similar, or do you have to go to PB? Do you have to go to downtown? People won't be like, I don't want to do that.
Well,
night.
and we had like house parties and we had like kickbacks and stuff
that's
like that
true.
versus like, and if we went out to the club, it's because it was like a special occasion or like something happened versus like we just go like, hey, so-and-so is having a house party, come pull through.
That's true. My daughter had a kickback, and like those kids have been asking, when are you going to have another one? Because it was so rare and cool to them.
Yeah.
They were like, Jaslyn had a kickback. Jaslyn, when are you having another one? And we're like, that's so weird, because in our time it was like a normal thing to find friends that had kickbacks. Like,
we used to text each other the address.
or sometimes you're walking down the street, you're like, hey, the garage door is open, and there's like people in it.
Yeah, exactly. You just walk in.
But then again, that's probably why, because we grew up in that culture. Well, I did Gen X, and we kind of like pumped that into like the millennials down, where we used to have like keg parties.
Yeah.
You know, like bring your own beer parties. You have to find the egg at the whole stupid shit where you get the egg and you give the egg and somebody gives you the address.
Yeah, flyer parties.
Yeah,
and
flyer
stuff,
parties. We grew up in that.
Like,
We grew up in that drinking culture. So then once we kind of grow up, and then we're now 21, we take it to the clubs. But I don't think the kids are like that.
No.
Well, our culture before wasn't as public as the culture now, because if you post something, it's easy to share it to other people. Whereas like before, when we had flyer parties or something like that, like you had to know somebody to get that information and be able to figure that out too.
But then again, now kids are like of that, like Gen Z, I guess Gen Z. I don't know the age group, but they're getting smarter too. Instead of like throwing like kickbacks and house parties, they're actually throwing real events.
Ragers.
Yeah,
Real
like
events,
underneath bridges, like at the end, like
Ragers.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that was crazy.
They're actually like making money off of these things, which is making it a lot smarter.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But hey,
I remember like, because I remember in high school we had this like party crew, and they would like rent out these fucking like houses and shit and fucking charge at the door, and I was like, damn, like that I don't hear kids, or I don't hear my cousins or anything that are like freshly 21 saying that they go and do that stuff. I'm like, so like, where do you want to go? We're like, I don't know.
We had hotel parties too.
yeah. We
You
used
guys
to have
remember
hotel
that?
parties.
Like-
There's one thing that we have now that's weird is there's mansion parties,
Yeah.
but those are just an excuse to get whores and drugs.
Yeah.
To be honest with you, like I've been invited to those. I'm like, no, I'm cool with that, because
Yeah.
they'll describe the scenario. I'm like, nah, I'm good. Like, you're gonna have a party with no DJ. Like, I'm not
That's
even.
weird.
I'm not
so
offended.
That's so
weird,
fucking
right?
Yeah, I'm not even offended that they didn't hire me or anything like that.
Yeah,
that's
same.
completely
sometimes
fine.
I'll be like,
It's
want me
just
to
a
bring my
fact.
shit? Because I'll be bored.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Exactly.
and it's just the fact that it's like, okay, so what are we gonna do there? You know, like we're not playing cards, we're not gambling. You know, all he described was
mahjong?
anything that you want is probably gonna be there. I was like, yeah, you know what? I'm good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Crazy. Okay, so to spread it out and generalize this a little bit more, what do you guys see is the biggest difference from Gen Zers to like our generation? If you could point stuff out other than drinking.
Well, one is technology. So technology has allowed them to stay home and get everything at home. If you want to go to a concert, pull it up on YouTube. You know, and then obviously there was COVID. So your cousins or whatever, your nieces and nephews that are 21 now, they were 19 during COVID.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So for those early times when they got out of got out of high school, and you're supposed to like at that point you're supposed to be like, woo, free as a
Right.
bird.
Yeah.
You're on lockdown.
Yeah.
Yeah, they didn't go to prom. They didn't. Like, they didn't experience any of
Yeah,
that.
you didn't go to your you didn't go to prom. Most people got drunk for the first time at prom.
Yeah, that's true.
You know, and it's just a different world. I mean, I from a parent point of view, I'm like, oh, that's good.
Yeah, exactly. From a parent point of view,
you're not going out. I mean, if you want to watch a concert, it's available in HD. You don't have to go.
Yeah.
That's true. I feel like as humans, we naturally seek human connection, right? We want to be connected to people in some form or fashion. And the reason why Gen Zers are different from our generation is we actually had to go out there to get that human connection. We had to physically step out of our homes, attend a party, make a phone call, approach the girl that we liked. Whereas now, because of technology, as you're saying, basically agreeing, they can just swipe for that human connection. They can just
But it's not human connection.
But that's how they feel like
But
it is.
that's their version.
Yeah,
of
that's
it.
their version.
Yeah,
Which-
they've normalized it, so it sucks.
Which sucks
Right.
because it's
Yeah.
supposed to be the information superhighway.
Right.
And we're supposed to get information. We're supposed to come together as a world, but
Yeah.
yet we separate each other because we don't ever get around each other. We just sit in our back corners and
Or like one of the things that I find interesting is that kids like to watch kids playing with toys.
Yes.
Like
So
every
weird.
little kid I know, including my kids, which is why I've had to like, okay, I'm fucking cutting it. Like you're not watching YouTube anymore. I want to watch so and so play with this toy, and I'm like, oh, like okay, the little boy that I nanny, right? His parents let him watch YouTube and stuff like that, and he's like, Auntie, can you please put on Nerf Gun Wars on the thing because I want to watch the kids play Nerf Gun Wars, and I'm like, okay, and then I'm like, do you want to play Nerf Gun Wars? No. I just want to watch. And he holds the gun in his hand and he watches the Nerf gun war, and then he just like does that. And I'm like, well, what about if like we do it, we play, and he was just like, okay, so now I give them like a 30-minute break on like, I don't let him do that anymore. Right. So I've taught him like, okay, we have our 30-minute break for your screen time. He's like, okay, so what does he do now? He plays, he goes around, runs around the house. He plays the Nerf guns with his little brother. And like they have a blast. But I feel like that's also part of it is like you said, again, just repeating myself, like social media has really like stunted that like actual living because they think they're living vicariously through these people in these videos.
yeah,
you
but
know?
it's also our fault. As
Yeah,
parents,
it's definitely our
Oh
fault.
yeah, for
parents.
sure.
With the invention of the iPad, that
Yeah.
became the babysitter.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So we programmed them to be that way.
Which is why I feel it's very important for parents to take accountability. Like I definitely put my kids on the iPad. I'm not going to lie, but I have very strict like time frames of when that can happen. So I feel like there's a balance still with my children.
Thank you, Miss Rachel.
No, for real, Miss Rachel for sure.
Well,
Yeah,
we
the
had a
whole-
lot of different things growing up too. Like before, we used to like our version of getting the iPad taken away from us was the fact that it's getting dark. We have to go
Go inside. Yeah. For
so
sure.
That's true.
yeah, I think that it's just we're all victims of the environment that we're raised in.
Yeah.
Now that you say that, I think of this too. It's like because my parents were really strict on me. That like when I had that freedom to go out and do things, I fucking raged. Like I
Yeah.
was out
Yeah.
late at night and I fucking was like partying with my friends and stuff like that. And
I still have that.
Yeah,
like I never go out anymore as a mom. So when I do go out, because everybody's like, "Don't you think you shouldn't party like that anymore?" Because you're a mom. I'm like, "Fool, I never party. So when I do party, I'm gonna fucking go
Yeah.
all out."
Yeah.
Like,
oh yeah,
so I still have that complex.
Yeah, like I was in a relationship for a long time. Then like when I was single, whole phase, I almost hold a girl's hand in public.
that's a big deal.
Crazy.
Yep.
Crazy.
Oh my god, that's first step.
That is wild.
Yeah.
Pinky or like whole hand.
Whole hand, but not interlocking fingers. I haven't known her that long.
Oh my
You're
God.
such a savage.
Just like this.
Like this.
Oh, okay. Not interlocking.
Like-
I thought it was gonna be
Mano
like this.
po.
Yeah.
I'm dead.
Yeah, her hand did touch my forehead. Yeah.
Oh,
Wow,
okay.
no man.
Yeah.
But also, do you think that because the information is so readily available, it's a good deterrent for them too? Like, you know, all the
Yeah.
stories of drinking and getting roofied and
Yeah.
getting assaulted, all that stuff.
I think one of the ongoing themes in a lot of the topics that we talk about is technology is really a blessing and a curse, right? And it's really dependent on how you decide to use it or how you decide to
Well, the
intertwine it into your life with your kids.
I would say the differentiating thing would be if it's a blessing or a curse, you have to understand: are you using it as a crutch or a tool? You know what I mean? Because
That's true.
like Serato it could be a blessing or it could be a curse. You know, but if you're only using it because you can't get music any other way, or you've never actually dug through CDs or tapes or records, you're not going to have that connection. That's why a lot of the music that's out now, they're not going to last. I can't think of one artist that's going to last as long as, you know, Tupac or Biggie.
Right.
Yeah, and they're
You
not
know.
even on the record pools.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So it's
Yeah.
there was a big culture of us digging through records, you know, looking at that Lethal Weapon, and it's like, oh, it has these 2 songs on it, I have to get this.
Yeah.
You know, or getting the new releases that came out on a Thursday or something like
Yeah,
that.
I remember.
Yeah, now it's all instant, and it's like just as long as you've been anticipating it is just as easy as it's going to be for you to forget about it.
But I'm not gonna hate on it though, because that's
No, I don't want to carry crates anymore
Yeah,
either.
same.
But at the same time, this is me using it as a tool. But if you've only relied on that,
Right.
it's a crutch, you know?
Yeah, there was this because I follow a lot of like psychologists and like doctors and stuff on my Instagram too. There was actually this other doctor that I followed, and she was talking about how part of the reason why a lot of kids are different nowadays is because the human mind was not built to process so much stimulation at one time. And us as humans, our brains need to experience boredom to develop, right? Because as you get older, you create pathways, you know, like as you learn things, you create pathways, neural pathways in your brain. And so boredom is part of that process, right? But kids nowadays don't experience boredom because you take your phone into the bathroom to take a shit. Whereas like we would have to like sit there with our thoughts, you know what I mean? Or just, or like read the
shampoo
back of
bottle.
the shampoo. Yeah. But there was still boredom happening. It wasn't like constant stimulation, you know, or like
Oh, riboflavin.
Yeah, exactly. Or like even eating cereal, right? That's what we would do back in the day. You would eat the cereal and you'd read the back of the cereal box or do the little puzzle.
Yeah.
But now it's like iPad while you're eating, you know, and like I'll see my sons fall into that sometimes. Mommy, can we watch something while we eat? And you know, I'll let them get away with it for a few days, and then I see that they're like hungry for that stimulation, and I'm like, no TV all day today because I need to fucking reel that shit back in. So I think that's also part of it is like they're constantly being stimulated. So like going back to like the drinking and things like that, like it's almost not fun for them because they need 10,000, which is why they have the raves to like experience. You know what I mean? They're like, I need the big fucking stimulation to be excited because the little things don't excite me anymore.
Yeah.
You know?
That's true. Because I mean, like when I was growing up, it was really nothing going on. You had like 5 channels if you didn't have cable.
Yeah.
Then that one Friday night, Kager at John's
Yeah,
house.
exactly.
You
That
know?
was the exciting thing going on.
Yeah,
Exactly.
And that was a good for the month. Mm-hmm. And then you're like, okay, next month,
Right.
something else.
Exactly. What about anything other than social media? Do you see any differences in our generation and Gen Zs, like in regards to like, not in regards, but such as the drinking and social media? What do you think the biggest like gap is between our generation and that generation?
Well, Alyssa used to have like tunnel vision. You know, she wouldn't pay attention to her surroundings. But then after a while, I used to put sriracha on my fingers and then just touch her like under the eye.
What?
And so now she like knows where I'm at all the time.
Oh, she's aware of her surroundings
Yeah.
more.
So now she doesn't like trip over like trash cans and
Oh,
you know, like she doesn't like she's not glued to her phone and then she's crossing a street and doesn't realize that it's not a green light or the walking guy. You know what I mean? And I'm kidding. It was wasabi.
Okay. Yeah.
I do that with my kids by showing them videos of a bunch of kids getting kidnapped. No, I'm just kidding.
No,
I scare
for
them.
real.
No, my
Yeah.
kids are literally scared of that because I've shown them like people getting snatched up. So now they're always like, and then I have a rule of no screens while walking. Like if you are walking anywhere, your screen has to be put away. Like there's no holding while you're walking. You know?
I see how it works too.
Yeah. What?
On the face, like under the eyes.
Oh,
He's still on that.
actually, that shit hurts. The other day, I put icy hot on my brother because he was having back pain, and then I fucking scratched my eye. So you're a dick.
Oh
man.
my god! I used to play. So I used to play soccer, right? And then like I had was it a Charlie horse? Is that what it's called? Yeah. So we put icy hot because they wanted me to keep playing. I was like, all right, cool. I kept on playing, and then I was like, God damn, my balls itch. Oh my god! I never ran so fast after I scratched my balls, and I was running weird too. I was running like this. But it was so fast, but I was trying to get the air into like the shorts and stuff. It was,
Oh my god.
yeah. So
The air would make it worse.
It does, huh? When you put the air on it, it makes it like
yeah,
sting
it's like
more.
it's like eating something spicy and then drinking water. That doesn't help.
Yeah.
It has to be milk. But I didn't have no milk to put on my balls.
Just never mind.
Okay, so out of curiosity, in case like we watch this like a few years from now or we go back, if you could predict by guessing, like just your own predictions, if you could predict what you think this generation would be like in like 5 to 10 years from now, what's your predictions?
Wait, can I change that question? Can I add to it?
Yeah.
What do you think we'll be complaining about with your daughter's generation?
Dude. Everything.
Just look at her and say, I should have kicked you when I had the chance.
I should have taken Vince's advice.
I've noticed too, like, okay, I don't know if this is relevant to your question, but I've noticed too, like, they have this whole thing now that they take their kids to like these expensive ass fucking like restaurants, not just fucking McDonald's or like, you know, Jack in the Crack or whatever the fuck it is. Like now they take them to some bougie ass places.
Yeah.
And I feel like, and because they review it on like TikTok and stuff like that, and they want to buy those expensive products on Sephora, I feel like that's going to be.
We're creating a bunch of entitled assholes as well.
Yes.
You know what I am hoping though? I'm hoping that they're gonna be a lot more I don't know if I'm using the right word, but empathetic, just because this generation, like say younger than your generation, the ones that are becoming parents now, they're so glued to their phones and everything, and the kids that they spawn may be yearning for that human interaction. So I mean, it might flip around. I think there was a saying where it's like, hard times create strong men create easy times create soft men create hard times create, and then just
The whole
going in
circle.
circles.
Yeah.
You know, that's a good point too, because I feel like this generation is so focused on hustling and like making that bag and whatever it's.
Yeah.
Okay, not making the bag apparently, but you know, like they're just constantly like wanting to just do that.
Yeah.
I guess that they're not going to realize like the interaction with their
Yeah.
I think you're right, because one of the things that I learned in psychology is a person's love language tends to be what was lacking in their childhood. So like for me, words of affirmation, because I didn't get affirmations as a child, you know, or like quality time, because usually usually guys like quality time because their parents were working and their dads were working, so they didn't get that quality time with their dad all the time, you know, which is why they yearn for that. So I think your theory is right, you know, that
Yeah.
I mean, I'm hoping for that.
Yeah.
I really do hope
same.
that, just because like it would be great to see like hope for the future.
Sorry, this just popped in my head. You know the question you had earlier about like what's the difference between our generation and the generation now? I've noticed a lot more kids are not driving.
Yeah.
Like, because now they have Uber and fucking Lyft and all this other shit. Like, a lot more people are getting their, like, not a lot of people are getting their license as much anymore.
I was talking to, I can't remember who I was talking to about this, but they were pretty much saying the same thing, that she couldn't get her son to start driving. You know, she's like, I couldn't like when I was a kid, I wanted to get my license like this, you know, and maybe this is a little bit too like serious and deep, but that kid's particular reason was because, do you guys remember like when the whole, what's the guy that got choked by the cop?
Oh yeah.
That time, right? And like,
Floyd.
Floyd. But like beyond that, there was kids getting shot by getting pulled over and things like that. Like I hear like a lot of children that are minorities are scared to start driving because they're scared of that. They're scared of like the cops and stuff like that, like because it was shown on social media, you know?
I think that it's the fact that they're coddled, because a lot of those kids, they still have their finances are still influenced by their parents heavily.
Right.
Or at least partially. And so they do get away with the fact that they don't have to be self-reliant. They can have their parents are paying for one of their credit cards and they're using that for Uber.
Yeah. Listen, back in my day, if I would have used to, Mom, there's so many people getting shot. Bitch, you ain't gonna get shot now. You need to go to get a car to get to work.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
yeah, but now they can use that excuse because, as you said, there's like Uber and stuff.
no,
So like,
what I'm saying is like it's the parents' approach.
Yeah.
yeah,
Oh, it's okay for you to be tired in your feelings. Listen, I'm out here in the hot sun. There's no way I'm going home to you telling me your feelings prevent you from being out in the hot sun working too.
yeah, that's true. That's a good point.
I'm glad that you bring this up. Oh, you know, this may be a better topic, like a different topic. Just thinking about this is like, I hear a good amount of parents saying that they're scared to push their kids because of mental issues, like mental health now.
Oh, for sure.
Because it's the biggest excuse known to man. I mean, not to known to man, but I'm saying it's always like, oh,
Known
I
to
can't do
women
this
is
because
way
of my
men.
mental.
And that's actually false. And I'll tell you not who, but from personal experience. Like, I have literally had a mental health professional tell me, or not me, but someone that I know, say, what you're doing is wrong. You're enabling and you're coddling too much. Yes, they have depression, they have anxiety, but you're feeding into it, which doesn't make them fix it, you know? So it's 100% true. Like, yes, mental illness is real. Don't get me wrong. I am a very big advocate for mental illness. I wanted to be a fucking psychologist and therapist when I was growing up. I was like a few classes. That's how passionate I am about it. But at the same time, agreeing with what you're saying, Queer Rich, is because mental health has become more at the forefront, kids nowadays are using it as a crutch and as an excuse. And the therapist that I spoke to in regards to this person was basically like, okay, you want this person to get better, then stop fucking helping them.
Yeah.
That's literally what they said. Stop fucking help. No, but what if they get worse? Well, then a person doesn't change until they hit rock bottom. That is fact. Like until they have motivation and have hit rock bottom. I mean, that's why you see interventions, right? Like intervention, what do? They're like, you can't fucking help them anymore. Write the letter, tell them how you feel, and then fucking let them go on their way, because once they hit rock bottom, then they'll change, you know? So I agree with you. Like, I think that's really true.
Yeah, I just think that whenever they go, oh, it's about my mental health, and I'm like, okay, I get it. Take 5 minutes and come back. But the more you actually bring that up, that it could be mental health, the digger the hole you're
Yeah,
helping
no,
them
you
dig.
just like go deeper and deeper in it. Yeah,
You know, so I think we talked about it like offline or whatever, how you give somebody the opportunity to take advantage of something, they most likely will.
of course, that's human nature. Like
You
you
know?
have to push yourself not to be that way.
And I'm like,
you know?
well, okay, it's your mental health is affected because you're working here. Go find another job. Why are you still here?
Yeah. And I'm glad that we're bringing this up because they've asked me, since I have my own kid now, they're like, well, what would you do? Like, would you want to keep pushing him? Like, I was raised to be pushed.
Yeah.
And I feel like I turned out okay. And I feel like our parents have pushed us to fucking get out of our comfort zone. And I believe in this and have faith in this, that if you push them, obviously don't push them off the edge, right? But push them enough where they're uncomfortable, then how else will they grow?
Yeah, that's actually an argument that one of my girls said to me one time. She was like, what did she say to me? She said something to the effect of, well, sorry, Mom, I'm not as strong as you, right? Because I was like, I've been through this. I've been through that. When I was a kid, I had to fucking do this. Well, you know, Mom, I'm not as strong as you. I wish I could be as strong as you. And I go, you know what? I'm not asking you to be strong. I'm asking you to be fucking realistic. That's what I told her. I was like, if you're crying to me about, and it was like menial shit, right? Like XYZ. I'm like, you can fucking get over that shit. You can get over that shit. You don't need to blame mental health because it's really not that big of a problem. You're creating it into a big problem. And I'm like, I'm asking you to be strong when it matters. Like if fucking there was a death in the family or something like that. Like, I'm not saying that your feelings don't matter. I'm not saying you're not allowed to feel your feelings, but I'm asking you to have a difference between real life problems and stupid shit problems that you can get over, you know?
Well, it's just like, you know, whenever you hear like on TikTok or Reels about generational trauma, and I'm like, none of that shit even is like something that would bother, and it should bother anybody in their life. it's like the smallest thing, and it's like, oh, it's because you're my aunties or my whatever called me fat. I'm like, but if you're Filipino, you get that all the time. You kind of just shrug it off. Maybe it's just me mentally.
Well, I see both sides. Like I've definitely grown up and told myself I'm going to break the generational trauma in my family. So I've used that term, and I'm very passionate about that. There's certain things in my parenting that I would never duplicate that my parents did. But also, I think there's a line to that too. You know, like you can't fucking blame generational trauma for everything or for coddling your kid and making them a fucking baby until they're 20 something years old, you know, like
no, you have to traumatize your kids
a little bit.
Yeah,
for sure.
you have to. That way they know that when these menial things happen to them, it's not
nothing.
that bad. Yeah,
exactly.
Why do you think I used to throw rocks at my daughter when like she would skateboard?
Yeah.
Because she's not going that fast, and if she falls down, she's going to quickly learn that it's not that bad.
Right.
You know?
Exactly. I've actually had to pull myself back to remind myself that with like my boys, right? Because a mom's initial thing is to like coddle her boys, right? I'm like, oh, it's okay, I got it, baby. And one of my friends had to check me because I was happening to do it. She's like, no, they have fucking legs. Make them get up and do it themselves. And I was like, God damn right. You know, like I was like, you're right. I never had to fucking be coddled like that. And that's the thing is like back to social media or whatever. I think this whole like generation below us has been given too many passes, you know?
Let me also clarify this. When I would throw rocks at my daughter, it wasn't at her. It was rolling them in front of the skateboard. When she was on the sidewalk or on like the regular pavement, not on like the street, because that would tear up your leg.
Yeah.
But the other one, she's going slow as hell. She was wearing full gear. I just wanted her to fall down because I thought it would be, well, for one, it would be funny. But two, you're gonna realize that it's not that bad. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like I used to knock my daughter down all the time.
I've literally said that to people. I'm like, are you sad about it? Get a bigger problem. That's what I used to tell people. I was like, get a fucking bigger problem. Sorry, buddy. You know? So
And if you search on social media online, you're gonna find whatever it's bothering you and an excuse to why it's bothering you.
yeah. Yeah.
And people live by that. Oh, I read online that this, psychologist says that, like,
No, you know what? I have a book for this.
Oh my gosh, this book.
But to sum it up, though, I agree with all you guys what you're saying.
The disappointing affirmation.
Yeah.
So we did this last time. Let's read 2 of them.
That's a perfect one.
Things didn't work out for a reason. The reason is you make terrible decisions.
See,
Yeah.
accountability.
Don't be afraid to try new things, like maybe getting your shit together. So, I mean, that's exactly right.
I mean, that kind of...
Pick your poison.
Yeah.
hey, man, that's true. And I mean, hopefully, I don't know. I don't know about this generation. This what Gen Z. I mean, these are. I don't know what's the age group of Gen Z.
Let's look it up officially.
What's the age group?
Well, I'm 28 and it ends at 96, so probably 27 and below.
So Gen Z is considered 1997 to 2012.
Okay.
So 27 to...
Yeah, they've fucked up a generation, and they're gonna fuck up the next generation. And hopefully the generation after that in 3 decades.
Oh, the beta?
Or whatever. Yeah, it will right things, because right now, that age group
That checks out.
are the ones that are calling that are
Demure.
calling their kids demure. Those are those are the ones that are giving their kids the go ahead to identify as zoo animals.
But I think you're right in that it really does depend on the parents and their surroundings, because my kids grow up in that, they're growing up in that age range, and I'll be damned if they become like those fucking kids. Like, honestly, like a lot of my son's little friends will be like, I want to play.
Your kids are Gen Z?
Yeah. My daughters are Gen Z.
Yeah, you do. They're not your sons. They're
my sons are
alphas.
alpha, but even them, like the other day, we had him under the fucking car, under the hood of the car, working with Anthony on the car, because we're like, you need to learn how to fucking work on a car. You need to learn how to fix shit. You're not going to be one of those kids that can't do shit because you were on your iPad all day. You know,
there was an old commercial that I saw reposted on stories or on reels or whatever, where it was an old family like in the 80s, and this kid had like a fork or something, and he was going to an outlet, and then the mom was like, Timmy, don't do that, and then the dad was like, no, let's see what happens. And you hear it just pop, and then like he hits the ground and everything, and then the dad's all like, see, but he won't do that again.
Yeah.
We need to bring back that parenting.
The funny thing, like for me, so the funny thing is Ackright has very much that old school mentality parenting, right? The fuck around and find out. But there's also a part of him that is also very old school where he needs to be in control all the time. So he always like tells the kids what to do, you know? And so there's like this weird balance that I feel like you have to have as a parent. Cause even yesterday he was like, well, I don't want the kids to do X, Y, Z. And I'm like, but where's the fuck around and find out mentality? Right. You know, he was like, well, it's because I'm trying to stop them from this and that. And I go, yeah, but now you're the op, you know, you're like the person that's stopping them. Right. So they're looking at you like, fuck that. I'm going to do what dad tells us not to do. I'm like, what you need to do is pretend to be on their side, let them fuck around and find out, you know? And he's like, oh, you're right. I never thought about it that way. You know, I'm like, you're trying to control them so hard that you're coddling them and they're not going to fuck around and find out, you know?
Say that shit again.
Yeah, exactly.
We
So
know how to get bopped a couple times already.
yeah, exactly. So,
damn.
well, good luck to Gen Z. We hope and pray that you make smart decisions and you don't turn out as shitty as a lot of us think you're going to turn out, you know?
I mean, it already has. I mean,
I hope my scenario plays out. I hope they become like
better.
Yeah.
Well, there's someone that I was listening to. This was probably like last year though, and they were saying that the prediction is the pendulum is going to swing the complete opposite direction.
Yeah.
That like all these kids are turning out shitty, but then as you said, like the generation after them is supposed to be real good because they want it. They're going to try and swing it back the other way.
I just hope it doesn't get to the extreme.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like everybody's so coddled right now. And it's like, oh, I need to protect this. And then they go to the complete other side where they're just like, so, oh, let's all love each other. Like hippies come back, but like to the extreme.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, but I mean, like, how does that? I'm having a hard time thinking how that changes when you have like, if your parents are, let's say, non-binary, how do you call bullshit? How do you switch that? How do you switch that it's okay to be female when you're not and say you're trans?
I'm not quite sure I'm following along.
Because sometimes sometimes it's not necessarily biological or genetic. It's about influence.
But influence does change when you change your surroundings. So like, yes, you're going to have that coddled up until you're like 4 or 5 years old.
A lot of my friends grew up with their dads being gangsters, and they were hella gangsters after too.
No, but where did they live too? Did they go to like Catholic school, or were they in an environment where the gang related stuff was happening?
Well, where do you think these people you end up in the same community?
Yeah, exactly.
If you're living in a trans or binary whatever free living society, you're probably gonna think the same way. Well, so it doesn't change.
But there are things that can change, even though some things stay the same. Like, yes, they can be in that gang-related culture, but they can find out, oh, dang, I was actually identify as a blood instead. You know, like...
No, that's true, because I know some people whose parents were gang members, and they saw the damage it did, as she said, about alcoholics, so they chose to go the other way.
Yeah.
So, and then there's also, like, vegans, right? I don't know if you remember me talking about the student that I had when I was in helping in preschool, and they would fucking eat all the meat when we would serve meat as you know, to the kids because their parents only fed them vegan food, and so there's possibility.
Yeah, and that's the distinction that I was actually talking about. Is like, yeah, things can change and stay the same at the same time,
right?
Because at home they're probably still eating their vegetarian stuff, but then like now that they're around people and there's a lunch lady that cooks bacon that is hella crunchy and stuff like that. Right. It's like, okay, well now, what have I been
my
doing?
world is bigger, and now I realize this isn't all that there is.
I actually have no hope for the future.
Damn.
Oh no, I'm hoping
we have kids in the future. Stop it.
I know. I just don't. I really have no hope. Like, look, really pay attention to what's happening. We have no hope.
No, I have hope, but that's all that I have. I have no faith.
I'm telling you,
I don't believe in it. I'm crossing.
I'm saying everybody should get passports, because I think by 2035 we will no longer be a superpower. And when that happens, you might as well start living somewhere else because you're not going to get the same freedoms and as you would as a top tier.
You know what's funny? I was talking to a friend that's in the military, right, recently, and their family lives in Germany, and they grew up here in San Diego, you know, so the beautiful, most beautiful city, right? Mm-hmm. And he's like, I'm never going back. I'm not fucking raising my kids there, you know? He's like, I've chosen to literally stay out of the United States because I don't foresee a good future for my kids there. So, I mean, you're not the only one with that mentality.
Yep.
Yeah, I know a lot of people who literally just talked to me about this on Saturday, and they're like, if you don't vote right, then we don't know, like, it's going to go to shit.
Yeah, it's true.
No, vote properly. Don't vote right or left. Vote properly. Mm-hmm. We don't condone either side.
Do your due diligence.
Sure. We got evilness on
both sides. Yeah.
I'm just saying.
I think she meant right as in correctly, not right as in the right side. Yeah.
I just wanted to correct that because when you say
someone here is gonna,
they're like, hey, they're promoting.
Yeah.
No.
They're promoting the orange fuzz.
Right. Yeah.
Is that what that means? I've never learned that.
What?
What, like, oh, you seem like super left or you seem super right.
Oh,
I don't know what that is.
Left wing and right wing.
Right wing, yeah.
So right wing is Republican, left wing is Democrat.
Democrats.
Then they have the extreme right and the extreme left.
Okay, I meant correctly.
Yeah.
That's what I meant
So when you
correctly.
say right, it's
Sorry.
like,
I didn't know that, but I meant correctly.
That's why I wanted to correct that.
But I still don't
I'm
even
glad
know
you know what I
that.
meant.
Yeah.
Huh?
I still don't even know what that means.
Yeah, well, I mean,
But
We can talk about it later.
that could be the problem.
Yeah.
So the point of this podcast was basically talking about where Gen Z is going and how kind of different it is and how worried we are. So praying for our Gen Zers and everyone afterwards.
That's our future.
That's our future kids.
if you're
our kids' future. Yeah.
Yeah, and also if you're a parent of somebody in the Gen Z, or if you are Gen Z,
Give us hope and get it together, man.
yeah, I mean, comment, let us know.
They're
Be a
gonna hate
guest.
us. We're gonna have hell. If a Gen Zer actually takes the time to watch this episode, they're gonna fucking be hating. They're gonna be like, "We're great." Shut the
Be
fuck
on a
up.
guest. Be a guest.
Yeah.
Be a guest on our show. I'm really curious to know your.
I
guys'
actually
input.
want us to put together like a solid, like structured episode because I want to bring like my daughter and some of her friends in to kind of like pick the Gen Z's brain. I think that would be kind of interesting.
Wait, do your kids watch the podcast? Are they allowed to?
Only certain episodes, obviously.
Okay.
Like there's only certain ones, so
I think it would be
like the gecko
hilarious if I
episode.
was to be on the episode with them.
you might make them cry.
I
Which is
think
good
that
for
would be
them.
hilarious.
That's healthy for
yeah.
them.
Okay. Well, thank you guys so much for tuning in. And
We love everyone.
yes, we love everybody.
I hate you all.
No, we love you guys.
See, this is Be Uplifted, and I wanted to be an uplifting channel, but there has to be darkness somewhere, right?
Okay,
Well,
I
be
love
up the
everybody.
button.
Some of you I love very minimally.
Yeah.
Is that uplifting?
Well, on that note, thank you guys so much. And we'll see you guys on the next episode.
Bye.
Fuck them kids.